We have to continue with the steps of urine formation. We have already discussed about ultrafiltration, so today we have to start with the second step of urine formation, that is reabsorption. Sorry, P is missing over here once again. Okay, after R there will be P. So reabsorption or tubular reabsorption is the process by which nephron removes water and solutes from the tubular fluid, that is pre-urine, and returns them to the circulating fluid. Okay, so in this process the nephron, the wall of the nephron will reabsorb. What they will reabsorb? That is water and some solutes which are essential for our body from pre-urine. Why it is said as pre-urine? Because it is prior to the urine formation. Whatever glomerular filtrate is formed after the process of ultrafiltration is not at all the urine, it is pre-urine. So from the pre-urine the extra water will be reabsorbed and some solutes will be reabsorbed and it will be given to the circulating body fluid. Okay, that is the blood. So what are the substances which are mainly reabsorbed? That is glucose, that is sodium, water and other useful substances which are reabsorbed from the glomerular filtrate. Then absorption of some of the components of glomerular filtrate back into the blood as the filtrate flows through the nephron of the kidney. So which of the substances is reabsorbed? These are the substances which is reabsorbed, and it happens against a concentration gradient. Concentration gradient, it means the difference in the concentration. Okay, so the concentration of glucose is although less in the pre-urine, then also the extra glucose will be reabsorbed. So in the circulating fluid the glucose level is high. Okay, but in the pre-urine the glucose level is low, then also the glucose will be reabsorbed, and it is done against the concentration gradient. According to the physical law of diffusion, the substances move from higher concentration towards the lower concentration, but here the substance is moving from lower concentration towards the higher concentration. So that is why against a concentration gradient, and that is why it will require extra energy, and this transportation of glucose from the pre-urine to the circulating blood is against the concentration gradient with the use of energy. So that is why this type of transport is known as active transport. There are two types of transport we have already discussed, active transport and passive transport. So in active transport there is the utilization of energy. Then some other components such as ammonia and urea are secreted in tubular secretion part, that is the third part of the urine formation. We will see that these substances are secreted in the pre-urine, while some other ions including potassium can be both secreted as well as absorbed. So it is reabsorbed also as well as it is secreted also. And what is the purpose of this reabsorption or secretion? To maintain the ionic balance throughout a body. Okay, so this is the significance of tubular secretion and reabsorption. Now what is this? Is the third step of urine formation, that is tubular secretion. It is the transfer of material from the peritubular capillaries to the renal tubular lumen. Okay, it is opposite to the process of absorption. Okay, then what are the substances which are secreted? That is potassium and penicillin, and whatever if the person is on the medication. So if drug is there taken, medicines are taken, then such medicines, the parts of the medicine is also secreted in the urine. Then what is urine? Urine is filtrate. Filtrate is obtained by the process of ultrafiltration. So from this glomerular filtrate, when we remove the substances which needs to be reabsorbed, and then we add certain substances which needs to be removed out, that is by tubular secretion, whatever would be left, that is known as urine. So urine is filtrate minus reabsorption plus tubular secretion. Just to understand, make you to understand, I have written in this format. Now steps in urine formation. In glomerulus, we get the glomerular filtrate by the process of ultrafiltration. Then the Bowman's capsule receives the glomerular filtrate. Then in PCT, the reabsorption of water, glucose, sodium and chloride ions takes place. And some absorption of water also takes place. In loop of Henle, the reabsorption of remaining chlorine and water, and in DCT, it secretes potassium and foreign chemicals. Why kidney requires more energy than the muscles? Just now you have seen that in the reabsorption process that the active transportation is taking place. So in the similar manner, the urine formation requires energy at its different steps. So that is why kidney requires 6 to 7 times more energy as compared to the muscles, because urine formation in the kidney requires energy. Now what is the pathway of urine excretion? Urine is formed by the DCT part of the nephron. Then the urine is emptied into collecting duct. Then from collecting duct it moves to the pelvis. Pelvis is the extended portion of the ureter in the kidney. From the pelvis it will move into the ureters, and by the ureteral peristalsis, which happens due to the gravity, there will be the downward movement of the urine from the ureter to the urinary bladder, where the urine will be temporarily stored, and after that through this urethra it will be released out from a body. And at the opening of urethra there is a guarding muscle, that is sphincter muscle. So in the males this urine is released out through the penis, whereas in females this urine is directly released out through the urethra, and the process of release of urine from the urinary bladder is known as micturition. Now what are the physical properties of the urine? The color of urine is clear yellow, and this clear yellow color is due to the presence of urochrome. Now what is the volume of urine produced? The volume of urine produced every day is 1 to 1.5 liters per day. And what is the pH of it? The pH of urine is 5 to 8. 5 it means acidic, 8 it means slightly basic. So if a person takes protein rich diet, there will be the formation of more amino acid. Okay, so there will be increased acidity of the urine, that is will be more towards 5. If a person is on vegetable rich diet, then the basicity or alkalinity of the urine will increase. Okay, if the urine will be left out for or standing urine, it will cause a foul smell, and this foul smell is produced due to the bacterial decomposition of ammonia. So it may be asked in the reasoning based question. This also may be asked in the reasoning based question. Now what is the specific gravity of urine? That is 1.003 to 1.035. Now what are the constituents of urine? 95% volume of the urine is water. Then the constituents is divided into two categories, that is organic constituents and inorganic constituents. Organic constituents includes urea, uric acid, creatinine, amino acid and metabolites of hormone. Okay, urobilinogen. Okay, this is also the organic component, but it is not in your syllabus, which provides the pigmentation to the urine. Then inorganic components includes cations like sodium, potassium, calcium and ammonia. Anions includes like chloride, sulfate, bicarbonate and biphosphate. According to your syllabus, only sodium and potassium is enough, and for anions, that is chloride is enough. Now what are the abnormal constituents of urine? Then if there is excess presence of albumin in the urine, the condition is known as albuminaria. Albuminaria, it means when the blood pressure becomes very high. Then when the blood pressure is very high, the rate of ultrafiltration will also be increased, and the larger molecules will be able to cross the glomerulus and enters into the Bowman's capsule. So albuminuria occurs due to the high blood pressure. Okay. Then the next condition is glucosuria. Glucosuria happens because of the presence of due to insufficient supply or decreased level of hormone, that is insulin. So if pancreas has 4 types of cells: alpha cell, beta cell, gamma cell and delta cell. Okay. So from the alpha cell glucagon hormone is secreted, and from the beta cell insulin hormone is secreted. The purpose of the insulin hormone is to maintain the glucose level of the blood. Okay. If the insulin hormone secretion decreases, the blood will have higher level of glucose in that condition. So when the blood will have higher level of glucose, there will be more glucose in the urine also, and that will result into the sweet urine, sweetness of the urine, and this type of diabetes is known as diabetes mellitus, that is type 1 diabetes. Okay. There is type 2 diabetes also. We will discuss it in the later part of the slides. Erythrocytes, if the erythrocytes, it means red blood cells, is present in the urine, it is known as hematuria, and it happens due to the infection in the urinary tract. Then at certain times leukocytes are also present in the urine, then it is known as pyuria. This is not in your syllabus. Ketones, if ketones and proteins are there, ketones is there, then acetonuria, proteins are then proteinuria. Okay, and both these basically occurs due to the high blood pressure. Okay. Now regulation of urine output. Just now I have said that there are 2 types of diabetes, so we are going to discuss about type 2 diabetes, that is diabetes insipidus. Okay. So there are different endocrine glands, and one of the major endocrine gland is pituitary gland, and pituitary gland has 3 lobes: anterior lobe, posterior lobe and middle lobe. From the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, an hormone is secreted, that is antidiuretic hormone. Okay, ADH stands for antidiuretic hormone. Diuretic, it means the level of water, it will regulate the level of water. So this hormone regulates the water reabsorption. So if the ADH secretion will decrease by the posterior lobe of pituitary gland, the water reabsorption from the urine will also decrease. Therefore the urine will have higher level of water, the level of water will increase in the urine, and this will result into the frequent urination, and this diabetes is known as diabetes insipidus or diuresis. The substances which increases the diuresis, or the substances which increases the formation of urine, is known as diuretics, and the examples of it is tea, coffee or alcohol. So this diabetes insipidus is the type 2 diabetes. So this is all for today. Next class we will continue with the osmoregulation and artificial kidney. Thank you everyone.